Today I just want to talk to you a little bit about program evaluation as well as research in your educational programs. I started off my program evaluation slide with a Shakespeare quote, to be or not to be, because that's the kind of question I ask a lot as evaluator. To be or not to be a great educational program, to be or not to be hitting your goals. Those kind of questions I ask a lot as an evaluator. Now when you turn to research, it's not so often to be or not to be a program. It's digging deeper into your program and answering some of the questions that have come up as your program has matured. And can you make a contribution to the literature? I was asked to talk a little bit about what I think a great educational program is as an evaluator. And I think curriculum aside, the people definitely make the program. And most important is to have a visionary leader, someone who has a vision of where the program wants to go, and the iron will to make it happen is very rare in my experience, and I love having them. As an evaluator, I often look a lot at whether people are hitting their program goals. The first thing that you have to have are program goals. A lot of people have a vision, and you have to turn them into goals, and then to turn them into something measurable as well, which we call performance criteria. And you need one for each goal. And if you really want to nail it down, you need to choose an assessment method for each criterion so that you can measure your actual performance on the criterion. If you really want to get scientific about it, you can place it in a matrix with one line for each goal, assessment method, performance criteria, and keep the whole process really organized. NSF loves that. And also, you have to evaluate your programs. We do formative evaluations, which happen in real time as the program is unfolding, as well as a summative evaluation that usually takes place at the end of the year debrief. Everybody gets together, reviews the goals, reviews the results, figure out what you're going to do with your program next year. Another place I play an important role as an evaluator is in funding the program. We seek funding all over, but probably the National Science Foundation is one of our favorites. The key is to build the proposal team and have a good principal investigator. Again, a visionary who can lay out the timeline and integrate everything is the key. Once your program has matured a little bit, you might want to get into the research end of it. You may have developed some specific research questions related to the impact of your program on retention or underrepresented minorities. Then you need to choose a theoretical framework to sort of situate your study within to get started. And then you need to set up your method. The sample for many of our programs are just the people that experiment in our program, so it's the experimental group. But you might benefit a lot from having a control group as well to take your measures and see how they do without experimenting your curriculum. It can be very enlightening. You also want to pick your assessments. I use both qualitative and quantitative assessments, which is a mixed methods assessment strategy. By far, the surveys are what I use the most. Because you can get quantitative indices in there as well as open-ended survey questions to get your qualitative data. And you can get quite a lot from a survey if you haven't surveyed folks to death. You also want to set up your timeline. Otherwise, you'll get to the end of your program and have no data, and everybody scrambling around trying to figure out how to get the data at the end of the program. I highly advise using survey software and getting rid of the paper and pencil equation. SurveyMonkey is my favorite, but a lot of folks use Qualtrics. You'll also need a software for data analysis. SPSS is my specialty, but there's probably a dozen of them out there. And you want to do the typical type of analyses, t-tests and ANOVA to determine differences pre- and post-tests, correlational methods to determine relationships between your program components. And then you're finally ready to see if you can make a contribution to the literature. You want to target a journal. Journal of Engineering Education is a big one in my field. Science Magazine is big in most all fields. Selecting your authors carefully and dividing up the workload, and then be prepared to revise and resubmit your article in multiple places until you can get it accepted. And I thought I'd close with, once again, a Shakespeare quote, what dreams may come from our programs. If we have visionary people involved, if we measure the impact so that we can show people what we've done, and then if we dig deeper in our programs and figure out where they can contribute to the literature. So thanks to Spark, thanks to the National Science Foundation for paying for a little bit of time for me to come up here, and thanks to William Shakespeare and that soliloquy I learned in high school. My high school teacher will be really proud of me. All right, thanks a lot.